Today on the Morning Edition, pushing for peace in Ukraine. There's now a new plan from leaders in Europe after that shocking Oval Office showdown between President Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
Come on, louder!
Yeah.
Oh, good God, boy! Yell like, ah! There it is! Now, what?
High stakes and serious high drama, from powerful performances to heated debates. See the high schoolers from around the state bringing their best for the state drama, debate, and forensics championships. And in just a few hours, the last great race begins. Mushers and their teams will hit the trail, braving the wilderness and the weather in the ultimate test of endurance as the Morning Edition starts now. Good Monday morning, everyone. Thanks for waking up with us today. And we are, looking ahead to the start of the Iditarod, the official start in Fairbanks.
Yeah, hard to believe that when you look outside. I mean, we've got no snow here across South Central. We've been talking about those temperatures in the 40s and 50s. So hard to believe that we're sitting here at the Iditarod, but that's why we have seen it shifted northward into Fairbanks, where they're actually seeing a healthy amount of some snow on the ground. We'll talk about that later this morning. But as far as this morning across South Central, we are sitting up under mostly cloudy skies for a good portion of the region, and we're also seeing some of that showery weather staying with us across parts of South Central. 35 degrees is what we're waking up to this morning. Nowhere near any of those colder conditions we did see through a good portion of those overnight lows as we welcomed in February. You can see those temperatures this morning: 23 in Eureka, 41 in Wasilla, 36 degrees in Seward. Most of the rain that we are going to see today will stay confined to coastal regions. Inland areas, we could see some hit or miss activity, but most of that will largely stay west of the Parks Highway out towards the Susitna Valley. And like we've been seeing for the past couple of days, we'll also see some breaks in the clouds, and we're going to stay with that for the next couple of days as well. So some locations expected to see a bit more sunshine than others. Other locations could see a bit more cloud coverage. So we'll stay with those sunshine breaks throughout the remainder of this week. But you can see most of the rain out towards coastal regions. There's that chance for some showers pushing inland across western parts of the Susitna Valley. Anchorage into southern parts of the valley largely going to stay on the dry side. Even parts of the western Kenai largely will stay on the drier side as well. We've got another area of low pressure building northward out of the Pacific Ocean that's going to reinforce those wet conditions for coastal regions as we welcome in your Tuesday night and into Wednesday. So far this morning, we've already seen upwards of a half an inch of rainfall, and we're going to continue to favor some of that heavier activity through Prince William Sound, where we could easily see up to 2+ inches of rain showers here over the next couple of days. Notice inland areas largely staying on the drier side, but we could see some isolated activity. I'll have more on that in that 7-day forecast coming up.
As President Donald Trump prepares for a major policy speech before a joint session of Congress tomorrow, there's more fallout after Friday's Oval Office clash with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Alice Barr has this morning's top story.
What's your message to Donald Trump?
This morning, the U.S. and Ukraine navigating a diplomatic detour, with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky spending the weekend shoring up European alliances after Friday's Oval Office shouting match.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right?
Zelensky was asked to leave the White House without signing an agreement to share Ukraine's critical minerals with the U.S., seen as a first step toward a peace deal with Russian President Vladimir Putin. President Trump posting overnight, in part, the U.S. should spend less time worrying about Putin and more time worrying about gangs, drug lords, and murderers entering our country. Friday's meeting devolved when President Zelensky insisted his country needs security guarantees to prevent Putin from invading again. Secretary of State Marco Rubio adamant Russia has to negotiate before there's any peace to secure.
But the question now is, can we get them to a table to negotiate? That's our goal. Don't do anything to disrupt that.
Zelensky said Sunday he's still willing to sign the mineral deal and believes he can salvage his relationship with the U.S., even as European allies vowed to step up.
We've agreed that the UK, France and others will work with Ukraine on a plan to stop the fighting.
That as Democrats slammed the Trump administration's Ukraine approach.
The White House has become an arm of the Kremlin.
And protests broke out from Vermont, where Vice President Vance was on a family ski trip, to Seattle, where this Ukrainian voiced her people's fears.
I'm terrified. I'm trying to hold my tears right now, but it's not that easy.
No easy path to peace. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
While in London, Zelensky told reporters he believes he can salvage his relationship with President Trump. Meantime, the Associated Press is reporting the Pentagon ordered U.S. Cyber Command to stop offensive cyber operations against Russia. To top Democrats slamming the move as a bid to earn Putin's favor. Here at home, the executive director of a nonprofit supporting nearly 1,000 Ukrainians who fled to Alaska under humanitarian parole says many are too afraid to speak out right now.
I have heard people say, that it is insulting, but Ukrainians who are here on such thin ice are scared to open up their mouth and say something against America right now because they understand that they want to be here. They want to be part of that promised golden era. They want to build their lives.
UAF professor Igor Pasternak, who was born and raised in Ukraine when it was part of the Soviet Union, says he's participated in Fairbanks solidarity rallies since the war began. He says the negotiations have been difficult to watch.
It's a total insult for everyone. Like talking about profits, talking about minerals, talking about cards in your hands, while this war already probably took over 1 million lives. And a lot of them are civilians, and a lot of them are children.
The leader of Alaska's Ukraine relief program says there is a lot of uncertainty as they await word of negotiations and how their refugee status will be handled. Americans across the country showed up to national parks and public lands over the weekend in solidarity with thousands of federal employees who've been fired in the last 2 weeks.
Our higher-ups said, basically, we're so sorry. We don't want this to happen, but there's nothing we could do. Goodbye and good luck.
Among the federal employees now facing unemployment, 2 Alaskans who describe losing their job as unexpected. The executive order signed by the president enacting the mass terminations and layoffs states its directive is to eliminate waste and empower American workers. Those 2 former federal employees disagree.
I specifically do invasive species and things like that. Without checks and balances for those types of things, people will literally die, and things that people love in their communities, like here in Alaska, salmon, fireweed, things like that are like critical parts of this culture and tourism, they're really going to take a hit.
I work directly with at-sea scientists on commercial fishing vessels. A huge issue for Alaskans is salmon bycatch in the trawlers, is halibut bycatch. We sustain our economy on fishing and tourism and public lands. If we don't have halibut and salmon for tourists to come catch, that's going to be a huge issue, right? If we don't have the fish populations to maintain so that the fishermen can feed their families, so that native Alaskans can catch salmon in the streams for decades to come to feed their families, there will be major ripple effects.
Meantime, Anchorage police are searching for a driver who fled the scene after a deadly hit and run early Sunday morning. Just after 2:30 a.m., officers and medics responded to East 15th Avenue and Orca Street, where a pedestrian was struck and killed. The victim's identity has not yet been released as authorities work to notify the family. The Major Collision Investigation Unit is handling the case, and police are looking for a silver SUV believed to be involved. Anyone with information is urged to contact APD. An update to the fire that broke out in a commercial property in Midtown Saturday. Large plumes of black smoke could be seen all across the municipality as the Anchorage Fire Department worked to get a handle on the blaze. It happened in the 500 block of Potter Drive. According to the assistant fire chief, there were no injuries. The blaze took around 90 minutes to get under control, with as many as 22 units on scene.
This is a particularly difficult fire because of the mixed commercial occupancies within the building and the high fire load, and just not much we know other than that right now.
Crews continue to investigate the cause of the fire. Some trucks were on scene for 9 hours. Help is on the way for Southeast Alaska as the repair ship tasked with fixing a damaged subsea cable arrives in Sitka today. According to the Juneau Empire, a 477-foot ship called the Cable Innovator is scheduled to arrive in Sitka this afternoon to support repairs. Some phone and internet services were temporarily restored Saturday night after 2 days of outages. Most customers in Juneau and surrounding areas should see their service back, but technicians are still working on the remaining issues. Up next, the art of the argument. Alaska's top high school performers and debaters take center stage, showcasing skill, passion, and, of course, persuasion at the state championships. And hundreds hit the streets over the weekend for Fur-Rondi, one of the great traditional events, the running of the reindeer. All the action is coming up.
A warm first half of the week across a large portion of the state. I'll break that down for you and what to expect throughout the afternoon hours. But first, at sunrise, 7:52 in Anchorage, 6:45 in Juneau. Your full forecast is next.
I totally get it. It's like I was told I was going to run one time, get some alfalfa, and take a nap. This is garbage.
That reindeer felt his job was done in the annual running of the reindeer over the weekend. Participants chose from 4 separate herds to run with before taking off down 4th Avenue. Most having no problem outrunning the reindeer hot on their tails. This year was the 17th annual running of the reindeer with visitors from across the world. It's always a lot of fun, Aaron.
And it was a nice weekend as well. We did see some peaks of sunshine. Those temperatures did warm into the 40s, even seeing some 50s yesterday. In fact, Anchorage hit a brand new record high yesterday when we topped out at 46 degrees. Temperatures across the state this morning continue to remain fairly mild. 10 degrees currently in Fairbanks, 2 below in Dead Horse, 7 degrees in Kotzebue with some light snow showers. We're expecting some windy weather out towards the Aleutians. Rain continuing out towards coastal regions of South Central, and we're waking up this morning to some dense fog out towards Southeast. So we're still holding on to that rain for coastal regions of South Central. Light snow showers as you head out towards southern parts of the Seward Peninsula. And then as you head out towards Dillingham, New Stoyahuck, we're talking about the potential for some rain as well as some embedded areas of some wintry mix that's occurring this morning out towards parts of Bristol Bay. That will continue to stay with us through the good portion of your Monday morning before tapering off. But as far as what we are going to see in terms of precipitation here over the next couple of days, largely expected to remain all rain as temperatures continue to remain warm. There's those winds out towards the Aleutians. Now, while they're only upwards of about 20 to 30 miles per hour this morning, we are going to see those winds increase throughout the day. And there is the possibility out towards Adak, we could see some winds gusting as high as 60 miles per hour. Into the afternoon and evening hours. Out towards Wasilla and through parts of the valley, winds have shifted around out of the north, so temperatures aren't going to be as warm today, but we're still going to see those temperatures climbing into the 40s. We'll make it to 43 degrees today here in Anchorage. Some parts of the valley could see those temperatures climbing into the mid to upper 40s, even out towards the Kenai, we could see that as well. So warm weather will stay with us through the first half of this week. Out towards Southeast, largely expecting dry conditions, but notice scattered to periodic rain showers staying with us across South Central. Inland areas largely on the drier side, but we can't rule out a few isolated showers throughout the day. We will catch a few breaks in the activity as we welcome in our Tuesday, but then that rain builds right back in Tuesday night on into your Wednesday. So we're going to continue to hold on to this active weather. And yes, those temperatures continue to remain fairly warm as well until this weekend when we are expected to tap into some of those cooler conditions. So early AM dense fog out towards southeast. Those temperatures warming into the 40s. You can see some breezy winds expected through Taya Inlet and Lynn Canal. Could even see a few isolated areas making a run near 50. Also for Homer, you can see making a possible run near 50 degrees today. So rain stays near the coast. This is where we are going to see temperatures slightly cooler compared to the rest of South Central due to those overcast skies and heavier rain that we will see through Prince William Sound. 46 in Golcana. Those winds are shifting around out of the northeast into parts of the valley. Still seeing those temperatures, though, possibly making a run near 50. So we're going to continue to hold on to these warm conditions through the remainder of today and possibly through at least Wednesday before we do begin to tap into some of those cooler conditions. You can see late PM showers arrive Wednesday night, carrying us through our Thursday. And then a reminder this weekend, Saturday night into Sunday, set those clocks forward as we do see the beginning of daylight saving time starting by Sunday. And that's where we're going to see those temperatures drop back off near freezing.
All right. Thanks, Aaron. It was a stage set for champions. High school students from across Alaska stepped into the spotlight. It's the drama debate and forensic state championships, bringing passion, performance, and persuasion to the tournament. Cassandra Mansell went to get a taste of the action.
Todd, I'd like to give you a demonstration of a barbaric yacht.
High school is full of drama.
Yacht? No, that's a mouse.
Lots and lots of drama.
Louder! Yacht! Oh, good God! Yell like, ah! There it is!
Performers from across Alaska gathered here at Betty Davis East Anchorage High for the 2025 Drama Debate and Forensics State Championships.
So they're constantly engaging one another, both in their piece selection, the issues that they're debating, but also they're getting to exchange ideas and perspectives with students.
Many of these high school students have prepared for months just to be here to show their hard work and compete for their school.
Now close your eyes. Describe what you see.
I close my eyes and this image floats beside me.
Yes?
A sweaty tooth Batman with a stare that pounds my brain.
Some have even traveled far and wide across Alaska to be here.
It's kind of like a weird sense of deja vu because you're like, you've been and done meets before, but you've never really like performed this piece for like such a large crowd. And it's kind of amazing to see a lot of your work come together.
It's important that we're able to speak with each other about topics that are polarizing, because if we don't talk about them, they're only going to get worse, and we need to be able to address the problems that exist within society today.
This year, over 200 students are participating in the tournament, sharing their ideas and stories.
His hands reach out to choke me, and all the time he's mumbling.
What's he mumbling?
Mumbling truth. Truth like a blanket that always leaves your feet cold.
It's a great way for me to get my feelings out. It's a great way to de-stress. And while the tournaments themselves can be a little stressing, we all get together, and as a community, we all have a lot of fun. And I think it's really important to revive that kind of culture of being together, because nowadays especially, there's so much isolationism in our country, in our people. It's good to really let that thrive.
You push it, stretch it, it'll never be enough. You kick at it, beat at it, it'll never cover any of us. From the moment we enter crying to the moment we leave dying, it will just cover your face as you wail and cry and scream.
Don't you forget this.
Cassandra Mansell, Alaska's news source.
And Anchorage Theater is making live performances more accessible. Serrano's Theater Company featured live closed captioning during this past weekend's production of Cabaret, allowing deaf and hard-of-hearing audience members to follow along using their phones or tablets. The system works through a QR code which connects to a live agent matching the script to the performance in real time. Theater officials say this technology ensures every production can offer a captioned performance, making live theater more inclusive for all.
Arts in our community are so important for telling stories, sharing our human existence, and creating a community, right, that within our own community here in Anchorage, right? And so accessibility is super important for that, to bring all sorts of people into that fold.
A lack of snow couldn't stop one of Anchorage's biggest winter events. The Tour of Anchorage usually spans the city, but this year racers took on multiple laps at Kincaid Park. Skiers and fat tire bikers pushed through the challenging course, enjoying a rare sunny day on the trails. Joe Allgood has the details on this annual Nordic ski race.
Behind me is the track for the Tour of Anchorage this year, which usually is a point-to-point race, but unfortunately, due to a lack of snow this year, they've reverted to doing a multi-lap race here at Kincaid Park. Racers took part in either the 50, 40, or 25-kilometer races, going multiple laps around the 5-kilometer course. Afterwards, the skiers got the chance to warm up indoors or even in a hot tub. Despite the lack of snow this winter, the Nordic Ski Association of Anchorage was able to create enough for the course at Kincaid. Sunday being a clear, sunny day with otherwise good conditions for the race.
It was a little more wet than I expected it to be. You know, I think none of us really chose the right skis for the day, but we were all in it together, which was good. And I mean, we're so lucky to have the snowmaking that we do have. Without NSAA, we'd have no winter at all right now.
In addition to the ski races, fat tire bikers were also invited to compete in races of the same length as the skiers, though they utilized a longer 12-kilometer course. While participants and organizers said they would have preferred to run the usual race course through Anchorage, they were happy to hold the race, compete, and enjoy the snow.
One thing I love is going out and pushing myself hard, kind of getting those endorphins kicks at the end of the day. So I think I'm going to have my work cut out for me. You know, I spend a little bit more time in front of a computer than on my skis these days. Life is busy, but it'll be a great day to just get out and enjoy gliding on the snow.
It's also pretty windy out here at Kincaid Park, which is not unusual, and it does make things slightly more challenging, but there are plenty of skiers that came out nonetheless.
All right, skiers,
Joe Allgood, Alaska's news source.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcasts from Alaska's news source automatically and stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.